Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Chappelle.
Thank you. Oh boy, I'm very nervous.
No pressure.
During the civil rights movement, I can't read what's on the teleprompter. Some about Black America and white America. There's Black Americans and there's white Americans. We're all one America. So if you don't mind, this is not live, is it? I imagine whatever I say, you could just edit it out. Let's try it a few ways. Lou, are you in the booth?
I am.
All right, good. You know what, Lou? Let's just play around with it and see if we can get it right and get this clip package on, and then let me go home. All right?
You got it.
All right.
Ready?
All right. Count me in.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wu-Tang. I'm just with you, Lou. Let's do it again. We're gonna do it again. We'll get it right.
Here we go, Dave. 5, 4, 3, 2.
You know, when I was a comedian starting out in Washington, D.C., right here in this city, 1988, I'll never forget this. It was a comedy club owner that banned profanity from his comedy club. He said it offended his audience, and this was a cause of major concern for all the comedians in the circuit. And we all called a meeting, and we had the owners come, and it was the club owners, and it was the comedians. It was the classic labor dispute. The club owners laid out their case. There cannot be profanity in these clubs because that offends people. And there's a comedian who's still a good friend of mine to this day. He lives right here in Washington, D.C. He stood up and he said, he's black, I should tell you, because that's important to the story. He says, I use profanity because I live a profane lifestyle. He says, I don't have an insect infestation in my house. I have roaches. My favorite comedians are like musicians, and the audience is their instrument. And the music they make is your laughter. And that's the laughter that I scored my entire life to. So now, some of my favorite American comedic composers. Thank you.
When I lose my job, I lose my man. Treats me like a dog. He called me a dog. Yes, he did. What did he call me? An old dog. Sometimes I wished I was a dog and he was a tree.
When you stop and think, football's a fair sport for my people. Only sport in the world, a Negro can chase a white man and 40,000 people stand up and cheer him.
See, in my neighborhood, the kids have a kind of a dubious reaction to that whole Santa Claus concept. They just don't believe that a white man will ride a reindeer through Harlem after midnight.
In truth, white friend, it's you that all look alike. But look at the black people around you. We're all different colors. Black walnut, burnt almond, chocolate mocha, pecan, vanilla, yellow, mellow, light, bright, and damn near white. We come from the first people on the earth. You know, the first people on the earth were black people. We the first people had thought, right? We was the first one to say, where am I? And how do you get to Detroit?
I think maybe like 30 years ago, there was a woman that wanted to sing, and a black lady that sang opera that wanted to sing. What was her name? Mary Anderson. And this place was like segregated, and they couldn't sing there. And here we are, like not even 50 years later, a 22-year-old black man on stage getting paid to hold his. God bless America. I gotta go now. Y'all take it easy. Bye-bye.
Janelle Monáe, Will Smith, Common, Gladys Knight, and John Legend when we continue.
Guys, that's just to show you how far comedy has taken. Eddie Murphy said, like, how many years? Like 40 years or 20 years ago, a white person couldn't stand, black person couldn't stand on the stage. But see now, a black person, 22 years old, is holding the mic in front of thousands of people. what a change in America. In the civil rights movement to MLK to black oppression in America to black and white people can date one another. But you see how things have changed until things are getting much, much, much better. And you can see a black person can date a white person now. And there are a lot of issues that are happening, but as compared to before, right? Things have gotten much better. I would say things have gotten much better. Richard Pryor says black people were the first people on earth. And a lot of theories have proven that though, like black people is definitely for sure the first people on earth. But I don't know 100% about that sure, but it might be true. You know, Jeff Chappelle also said that one guy said he used profanity because he lives a profane lifestyle. It's always a good thing to be, how can I put it, to be like honest, to be honest, like with the way you live, the way you do your things, just be honest about it, no need to strive, no need to hold about it, just be just be honest about it. I won't tell your lifestyle. America has come a long run, and one thing I really appreciate in this video is you see white people and black people, you see them both joining each other. This other guy says football is the only sport where you see a Negro chasing a white person. Thousands of people are clapping to him. And especially back in the days, it shows that sports, music, comedy, entertainment, they all unite people, and that is something that we should all work towards. Uniting and standing for one another, and also supporting one another. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Well, you ladies are right. To be honest with you, your lives look terrifying to me. They do, man. I know nothing about being a woman, but I know fear. Yo, I used to live in New York when I was 17, and I couldn't even pay my bills. You know what I did to make money? I used to do shows for drug dealers that wanted to clean their money up. One time I did a real good set, and these motherfuckers called me in the back room. They gave me $25,000 in cash. I was probably 18, 19 years old. I'm scared. I thanked them profusely. I put that money in my backpack. I jumped on the subway and started heading towards Brooklyn at 1 o'clock in the morning. Never been that terrified in my life. Because I never in my life had something that somebody else would want. I thought to myself, Jesus Christ, if motherfuckers knew how much money I had in this backpack, they'd kill me for it. Then I thought, holy shit. What if I had a pussy on me all the time? That's what women are dealing with. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's real talk. If them same drug dealers gave me a pussy and said, put this in your backpack and take it to Brooklyn, I'd be like, nigga, I can't accept this. I empathize, man, Everybody gets mad because I say these jokes. But you understand that this is the best time to say them. More now than ever. And I know there's some comedians in the back. Motherfucker, you have a responsibility to speak recklessly. Otherwise, New York Times said that Louis C.K. jizzed on his own stomach. I've busted a lot of nuts in my day. None of them were newsworthy. Shit was really gross, because they didn't just say it like I said it. They didn't just say jizz on the stomach. They said it in that fucking Pulitzer Prize winning style that the New York Times has. It was very descriptive, like, you know what I mean? Louis C.K.'s semen shot out like a volcano of misogyny, slowly drizzling down like lava, covering his freckled penis as it slowly dripped to a fiery crown of red hair. Jesus Christ, I'm trying to eat some huevos rancheros and these niggas is... And you know, the tough part, being a comedian, knowing the motherfuckers, everybody comes up to me like, did you know? Did you know what Louis was doing? No, bitch, I did not know. The fuck you think we talk about at the comedy club? Hey, nigga, how was the weekend? Great, man. I was just jerking off and faces and coming on my own stomach, having a good time. You know how this business is. No, I didn't know. They act like we sit around like Grease. Tell me more, tell me more. Then she put up a fight. Dun, 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 dun. Sorry, I don't know the choreography, but you get the point. You get the point. She was intense. But Louis was like the turning point. I mean, you know, all these allegations are terrible. Louis was the only... I shouldn't say this, but fuck it. His allegation was the only one that made me, like, laugh. Well, if you think about it... Because all his friends is reading it, and he's jerking off, and he's surprising people. He's surprising me. I just picture all the comics in comedy just reading it like, what? It's terrible. I know it's terrible. I'm sorry, ladies. You're right. You are right. But at the same time, I mean, you know what I mean? I don't know. Jesus Christ, they took everything from Louis. I was like, I don't know, it might be disproportionate. I can't tell. I can't tell. This is like where it's hard to be a man. One lady said, Louis C.K. masturbating in front of me ruined my comedy dreams. Word? Well, then I dare say, madam, you may have never had a dream. Come on, man, that's a brittle spirit. That is a brittle-ass spirit, nigga. That shit is too much. This is a grown-ass woman. You know what this shit is like? It's like COINTELPRO. You know what that is? It's a program that the FBI had on the J. Edgar Hoover. In this program, one of the many things they did was they would track the sexual habits of anyone they considered an enemy of the state. It was a lip button. That's why they got all these fucking sex tapes with Martin Luther King fucking bitches. But lucky for us, he actually had a dream. You think if Louis C.K. jerked off in front of Dr. King, he'd be like, I can't continue this movement. I'm sorry, but the freedom of black people must be stopped. I didn't know this nigga was gonna pull his dick out and jerk off like this. I just thought we were gonna get a couple of drinks and chill. Show business is just harder than that. Them women sounding like, I hate to say it, they sound weak. I know it sounds fucked up. I'm not supposed to say that, but one of these ladies was like, Louis C.K. was masturbating while I was on the phone with him. Bitch, you don't know how to hang up a phone? How the fuck are you going to survive in show business?
I mean, after all what people said about Louis C.K., but he was still a good stand-up comedian. I won't tell a lie about that.
If this is an actual obstacle to your dreams. I know Louis is wrong, ma'am. I'm just saying I'm held to a higher standard of accountability than these women are. Don't forget who I am. Don't forget what I am. I am a black dude.
At the end of the day, he's a black guy.
Well, this has been fucking wonderful. I don't know what to say, man. I don't even want this night to end. I promise you, whoever cares the most, I care at least as much as them. I know what I got, because I lost it all. I gotta tell you something, and I don't talk about it often. Have you ever worked all your life for something and have it not work out? That happened to me. It was tough. Think about it. I was gone for 12 years. It's not a little bit of time. It was hell. I watched other niggas that I new become very famous. I watched the world go on without me. I mourned the loss of it. And after a while, I didn't care. Coming back was terrifying. I understand what I am. I really do, more than anybody. Like when they write about me in history, I'll be dead reading it like, yeah, I knew they'd say that. They say that a person can't dream of a face they've never seen. Can't believe that's true, but it's probably true. Boy, I got a long bank of faces. 32 years, I could close my eyes. I could think of any night. There's so many faces. Every night, most nights, they're all looking up, smiling. You have no idea what the world looks like from that. All different races, all different colors, all different kind of beliefs, just looking at me, smiling for 32 years, night after night. No comedian take that for granted. I swear to God, this might be the noblest of professions. Robin Williams had a bar that I loved. He said, comedy is the only job you can have where you can use everything you know. And that's true. You can use more than you know. You can use what you think. Use it. Don't be afraid. Don't let these bitch-ass niggas button your lip. Say it anyway.
I first became aware of Dave Chappelle right around before the first Nutty Professor, because I was supposed to play that role that he played. And then I kind of saw him, and I was like, hey, that guy, right, that kid would be funny playing that role.
I try to be people, but now it's time for Reggie to karate-size your ass. Woo!
Dave is so much smarter than everyone. Like, Dave is one of the most, maybe the most intellectual comedian ever.
It took us 400 years to figure out as a people that white people's weakness the whole time was kneeling during their national anthem. That's a brittle spirit. That's right, nigga. On the Rockets, regular.
What are you doing, nigga? Stand up!
He stretched the art form and his impact on the culture. He is the voice of his generation, without question. Nobody's even close to him.
No, I've had to learn, and that's where Dave Chappelle has been a wonderful friend and mentor.
What did Chappelle say to you that helped you with that?
Chappelle said to me, we were doing a show at Radio City together. It was during his run.
Right.
And I was on one of the shows, and he said to me, I said, man, what am I going to tell these? Because I was like, I'm going to do comedy before Dave Chappelle. I was like, Dave, what am I even doing here? And Dave said, and I said, I don't even know if I'm funny enough to be here. I said, you're nice. And I think I'm a really funny guy, but what am I doing here? And Dave said, look, man. He said, you don't understand something. He said, you're not here because you're funny. He says, I know 100 funny motherfuckers out there. He said, you're here because you're interesting. And he said, anyone can be funny. Not everybody can be interesting. Not everyone can make an audience listen to what they're saying. Not everyone has a wealth of life experience that makes people want to know what they have in their minds. And so that changed my perspective on silence. And so now, if I can hear that an audience is listening, I'm engaged.
Well, that is a great piece of advice, not only for comics, but for anybody. Right. Because, wow, the thing that I love about Chappelle, and you just identified it, is he will go. He's interesting. And he is an interesting guy.
He's the most interesting man I've ever met. That's what makes Dave Chappelle. Many people are funny. There's a lot of funny stand-up comedians all over the world.
Yes.
But what makes Dave Chappelle is that he is interesting. It's how he sees the world between the jokes.
All jokes aside.
That is very, very true. I'm gonna agree with that part. One thing that makes a comedian different from another comedian is how he engages audience, how he keeps audience engaged and how he keeps audience pretty interested to know what he's saying, to know what he's sharing. And that is something that Dave Chappelle possesses. And that is also something that Donald Trump has, keeps audience engaged.
Kevin Spacey should have done that shit to that kid. He's 14 years old and was forced
to carry a grown man's secret for 30 years. Jesus Christ, he must have been busting at the seams with that one. The saddest part is, if he were able to carry that secret for 6 more months, I would get to know how House of Cards ends.
Loved was, I can't believe that I've been in this business long enough that we're like the older guys now. It always blows my mind that I'm like 5 years older than Dave Chappelle, because he was already a made guy when I came in. So I always look at him like he's got 10 years on me, you know, or 15. And, you know, just when I watch his act, I'm like, this guy's clearly been doing this a good couple of decades longer than me. And the reality is, I think he's only been doing it like 6 years longer than I have or something like that. He's fucking amazing. And what I love too is just, he's that same, with all that's changed, everybody getting offended, all of this fucking crap, how you get in trouble, he hasn't changed at all. He's just like that same guy that I saw way back in the day when I used to go to the Boston Comedy Club and watch him go on at like 2 a.m. and just start murdering at 2 a.m. And I remember I used to always sit there going, how do you do that? How are you that funny at 2 a.m. in front of a crowd that gave up on the show like an hour ago, and they're tired and they just want to go home? That second he steps on stage, boom, he just starts fucking killing.
Dave's a beast. Dave's a beast, man. That's the only man that puts a little fear in my heart. I'm like, okay,
it's real.
What's he doing?
Do you watch him? Do you watch him?
Totally.
You study?
Totally. I got Chappelle. I got an app. I follow him. I'm like, you know, my man Prince Paul always says, competition keeps you in condition.
True.
You know? So yeah, that's my man right there.
The other real.
That is very, very true, man. That is very true. He knows how to unite people. He knows how to bring people back to with one another. He knows how to help people work together as individuals, work together as one, and also know how to support comedians. You know, he don't say beef about people. He knows how to be equal with one another. You know, especially with the dispute between Will Smith and Chris Rock, and the way he handled it very well, I must say.
Special shout out I gotta make, because none of this would have been possible on any level without this person. Is my mother, Mom. My mother. Mom. You have no idea what I put this woman through. If you had just given birth to me, that would have been more than enough. But the fact that she raised me and raised me well. We had a real oral tradition in our house. I knew the word griot when I was a little boy. A griot was a person in Africa who was charged with keeping the stories of the village. Everyone would tell a griot the stories, and they would remember them all so that they could tell future generations. And when they got old, they'd tell them to someone else. And they say in Africa, when a griot dies, it's like a library was burnt down. And my mother used to tell me, before I ever thought about doing comedy, she said, you should be a griot. And she'd fill me with every story of black life. You know, she's educated in African-American studies, and she would let me understand the context that I was being raised in. That I'm being raised in a hostile environment that I have to tame. By the time I was 14 years old, I was in nightclubs, mastering an adult world. It was terrifying. Crack epidemic was going on, and my mother would hear gunshots outside and be scared to death. Maybe it's my son. But early in my career, if you remember, Mom, you used to sit in the club with me. She'd do a full day of work. You'd be back there falling asleep, just waiting for me to go on. She would watch my show every night. Do you know how long that car ride is home? How many of you have ever heard your mother say, pussy jokes were a little too much tonight, son? I was a soft kid. I was sensitive, I'd cry easy, and I would be scared to fist fight. And my mother used to tell me this thing, I don't even know if you remember, but you said this to me more than once. You said, son, sometimes you have to be a lion so you can be the lamb you really are. I talk this shit like a lion. I'm not afraid of any of you. When it comes word to word, I will gab with the best of them just so I can chill and be me. And that's why I love my art form, because I understand every practitioner of it. Whether I agree with them or not, I know where they're coming from. They want to be heard. They got something to say. There's something they notice. They just want to be understood. Love this genre. It saved my life.
That is awesome. It's nice to see somebody giving credit to his mom in front of the stage. It's a privilege, especially for people who have moms. It makes me miss my mom so much. My mom passed away almost a month ago. Yeah, a month ago. And yeah, wish she could be there for me to give my gratitude to her in the future too. But it is life, Just appreciate. It just makes you appreciate wherever I am. I always appreciate your mom. No matter issues that you guys have, I always appreciate your mom. You understand her importance more, especially when she's not. But when she's alive, appreciate her. Do whatsoever you can do to make sure that your mom is happy and satisfied, because she went through a lot just to give birth to you and just to raise you. So always appreciate her and most especially celebrate her. Thank you so much.